Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. It's Sharon Sheldon here from Content Sparks with Sarah Arrow from Online Visibility Academy, who I hope you hopefully know because she's been on with me a lot, and Shaa Wasmund, our special guest today. And we only have a limited amount of time with Shaa. So if you have questions, post them in the comments. If we have time, we'll get to them. Otherwise, I am going to just jump in. Shaa, if you don't know her, is best-selling author of Do Less, Get More, Stop Talking, Start Doing. She's also a successful entrepreneur, built a multi-million-pound business from her back garden. And I'm using UK language here, even though I'm in the US.
You can say backyard, it's all right.
Backyard, back garden. I know what you mean. I'm married to a Brit, so I got the lingo. Now is inspiring women and men, by the way, around the world to build a business, live life on their terms. And she's a course creator. And that's what we're going to focus on. Online courses and having multiple online courses. So I'm just going to pass it over to you, Shaa. And if you want to give a quick intro and talk about, when your first course may be and why you developed it, and then things like when or how you decided or how you knew when you needed to do a second course and a second course.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's dive straight in. So this isn't my first rodeo. So this is now my fourth multi-million-dollar company that I've built. Now I say that for context because actually I come into this business with a really strong business pedigree. And I want that to be really clear because I think sometimes out in this internet world of ours, it looks like we can have overnight successes. We can go from 0 to 7 figures in 3 months if you just buy my course. And that is bullcrap. It is not true. So I want to set the scene, how I've been able to do what I've done. A fair bit of luck, a lot of hustle and grit and determination, but also some well-honed business skills. So let's make no mistake. Do I think that it's entirely possible for everybody to get to the same stage? Yes, but you won't do it overnight. And the second thing that I want to really put out there from the beginning is let's be realistic. I'm on a mission right now to talk about 6 figures, not 7. And I'm going to tell you why. And then we're going to go straight into the course creation and how that impacts that. What I see a lot of is all this talk that we should all be millionaires. Everybody should be a millionaire. Well, that sounds great, but should we unpack the reality of what that actually means? If you are on, let's say, 30, 40 or 50,000 or even 80,000 a year right now, to go from that to $1 million in 12 months or 3 months is nigh on impossible. And to get to 7, you have to go through 6 first. So why don't we start to get really practical and realistic? First of all, let's learn how to make 6 figures in our business. And then let's learn how to take 6 figures home. And then we can learn how to keep 6 figures a year. And only when you've passed that point should you start focusing on growing to 7. Why? Because I've seen plenty of people get to 7, by the way, myself included. This is a big mistake. And make less money personally than I did when I was making half that amount. So there's no point in having this big vanity metric that we get to tell everybody about if actually we're not taking the money home into our own bank accounts and creating generational wealth for ourselves and our families. I say all that because truthfully, the bedrock of creating, first of all, the 6 and then the 7 figures in my business was 100% courses. And I want to talk you through kind of the different spectrum of courses that we offer today. So the first thing is we did get lucky. I am not going to lie about this. We came into the marketplace at a point where I think, there wasn't as many courses out there as there is today. Never let that be an excuse for any of you. So don't think you can use that later on and say, oh, well, Shaa said there's more courses today. Yeah, there is. So that means that you need to be better than maybe you needed to be 4 years ago. But guess what? That means that I need to be better than I was 4 years ago too. So when we started out, we got into the market in a very unusual way. We didn't launch with a flagship program. We launched through Groupon. Groupon had just got into the course creation market and were selling courses. And they said, well, through a mutual contact, they said, have you got any courses around setting up a business? And I said, no, but I'll go and create one. So I created a course. I think it took me about 5 days, and I just did it on slides. I just, sat here, recorded a course, 30 days to start your own business, and Groupon sold it. They discounted it down to like $29 from $197. But here's the thing. They sold thousands upon thousands of them. They took 50%, we took 50%. More importantly, we got the customer. The customer was ours to own and then nurture and market to. So what I learned very quickly was that if you got somebody coming in on a low price course, you want to nurture them and move them up to what they want and need next. So very quickly, we set about creating a couple of flagship programs. And actually, our best-selling program is called Courses Made Simple That Sell. And it's actually teaching people like, your audience, how to create an online course that sells. Because I saw a lot of people teaching how to create an online course, but they were kind of missing the element, teaching them how to actually sell the course. And we can dive into that in a little bit. And then we launched another flagship course, which was how to create a #1 bestseller, because I've sold over 250,000 books in the UK. I've got a Sunday Times, which is like the equivalent of the New York Times bestseller. And I'm really passionate about writing books. I am published by Penguin, so I don't actually write books for lead generation. I actually really write them as a creative art form and to get a message and to make an impact. But I also understand what it takes to actually sell books so that they are impactful to your bottom line in your business. So we created a whole program and a whole course around that. Now, for me, the reason why you need more than one course and you need them at different price points is because you want to enable your audience, and especially people who are new to you, to be able to come in at a price point initially maybe that is really easy for them to say yes to. And then as you nurture them and you warm them up, you can go deeper. So maybe start off with something that's more general at a lower cost. And then as you work your way through the good old funnel, you then build a bigger program, and maybe it's more hands-on. So what we do now is we have smaller, completely self-study programs that people can buy online. I'm hands-off. It's all self-study. Then we have our higher-end $2,000 programs, where it's a combination of 6 weeks of teaching plus implementation weeks. So our sweet spot is around the 9 to 12 weeks. That's how we like to do things. So what we typically do is we run a course for 9 weeks, where we teach for 2 weeks, have an implementation week, teach for 2 weeks, and you repeat that all the way through to the end of the 9 weeks. And then we keep the Facebook group open for a further 3 weeks so that we make sure no one's left behind. And that's what we do at the premium end. But there is a big gap between the $47 and the $2,000. And that way, what we get to do is we get to nurture people through our funnel in a way that feels right for them, but also doesn't make me feel icky about selling stuff to people who aren't at the right place or at the right time. And what I found is actually what happens is you get a really loyal audience, because they appreciate the fact that you haven't just got this one single high ticket offer. And let's face it, if people don't know you, it's a bit harder for them to just jump on in there with a $2,000 price point, right? So make it easy for people to say yes to. That's it.
So how did you decide, how did you plan out all these different courses and decide which topics to do when at different levels?
Well, for me, it was based around the things that I knew I was exceptional at and I was really passionate about and that I had a lot of experience. So best-selling books made a huge amount of sense. And by the time we designed our flagship program, Courses Made Simple That Sell, we had actually sold over 12,000 courses. So we had done about £3.5 million worth of revenue, so probably about $4.5 million in revenue just from courses at that point. So we really knew what it took, not just to create the course, but to create one that would sell as well. And so what we really talk about with our students now is that, and this might not translate, Sharon, so I'm going to get you to kind of do the translation piece here for me. Okay. So everybody's talking about launches, and some people love them and some people hate them. I love a launch. I absolutely love a launch. And I particularly love what I call a full fat launch. And a full fat launch, if you take milk, right? This is how I base it on. I should have trademarked this, right? So we have a skimmed or skinny launch, and then we have a semi-skimmed. I think you'd call it a 2%, right? You should have 0%, 2%, and full fat. So we call it a skinny launch, a semi-skimmed launch, and a full fat launch. And this is how I view it. A skinny launch is when you're going at a lower price point and you're not trying to get, your first 7-figure launch. What you're trying to do is get a program out there, get a course out there that's self-study, and you put it out on social media. And if you've got an email list, maybe you've only got a few hundred people on it, that's a skinny launch, right? You don't necessarily have Facebook ads behind it. You want to put something out there. And if you get 10, 20, 30 people to sign up at, $47, that's cool, because it's a skinny launch and you just want to get that out there. And by the way, as you grow your business, you should be doing a skinny launch every single month, right? So we're starting to bake that in, because what happens is your audience gets used to buying things from you, even at a lower price point. Then in the middle comes, I think, what most people do, which is the semi-skimmed launch. And the semi-skimmed launch is where you're building up your audience. You might do a Facebook challenge beforehand to build your audience up. You then might do some Facebook ads. You might have a bit of budget for that. And then maybe you've got your own Facebook group as well as your challenge group. And maybe you've got an email list, and maybe you've got a couple of thousand people on it. And so you're doing a combination of all these different activities. That is what I call a semi-skimmed launch. And if you're doing those kinds of launches, you're really hoping to make upwards of 50,000 per launch, right? And then we go for my favorite, which is the full fat launch. And that is the kind of thing that a good friend of mine, Stu McLaren, who you may have heard of, runs a program called Tribe. And we've been good family friends for many years, and we always partner with Stu. So we go all in. And by all in, I mean, it's not an affiliate. Yes, we do earn commission from it, but it's a real partnership. And what that means is we create all our own assets. We write all our own copy, even though we've got swipe files and everything else. Stu comes and does a dedicated webinar and workshop with us for our audience. We don't just send them to his. That, to me, I'm not really a big fan of just driving traffic to other people's products and programs unless I've been part of them myself or I know people personally. So a full fat launch is where I treat it as if it were my launch, and we go all out. We take over all the banners on my Facebook group and my pages. We run, we spend $10,000 on ads. We have multiple workshops and webinars, and we go all in. And I say this because I want people to realize that you can do a skinny launch in the next 5 days if you wanted to, and you could plan to do a full fat launch with partners in 6 months' time. There's no one size fits all solution. But what I know for sure is if you have more than one course, you have more than one option. And to me, running your own business, the biggest reason that I find for most people who want to run their own business is they want choice and they want freedom. And truthfully, I think freedom and choice are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, absolutely. So full fat. Now everybody wants a glass of milk. There you go. And Camille. Okay, Camille, we're ready. And for Americans, full fat, whole milk, same thing.
Yeah. I think in American lingo, and by the way, I was born in California, so I've just lost the accent. It would be 0%, 2%, and whole milk. Is that right?
Yeah, 0% or fat-free.
Fat-free. 2%.
Oh, there is 1% and there's 2%. So now you're going to need a new type of launch.
Because we're forget the 1%. We're going to go 0%, 2%, and whole foods, whole milk, cream. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
If you're like me, you like flavoured milk, like a strawberry milk or a banana milk.
Or you're just complicated. Get off my StreamYard.
That's a lot of different launch types now. Let's keep it simple.
No, we're going to stick to 3 because I do think there are 3 types. There's the super easy, let's just get something out there. There's the middle one, which is what I think most people do for themselves. And that, maybe they do it 3-4 times a year. And then there's the absolutely great big, all guns blazing, let's go out there and do a multi-7-figure launch.
How often do you do those?
So I would like to say I don't think anyone in the UK yet, I'm going to say yet because I've got one plan, has done a 7-figure. We've done multi-6-figure launches many, many, many times over. The truth is, to scale from a multi-6-figure to a 7-figure typically takes big partners because it's a numbers game, right? So Stu McLaren just did an $8 million launch, and I don't know how many partners he had. He had a lot. And I know that we were in his top 10 in the leaderboard. And given that you have people like Russell Brunson and Amy Porterfield and all the big guns who were partners. But I think that where we punch well above our weight is my relationship with Stu. You can see it in the camaraderie and in the lives and with my audience. I think you just feel it because I think it's just really obvious that this isn't, yes, I'm very open. This is a commercial partnership. If you guys buy through me, I'm going to get commission for it. But I'm also going to give you a ton of really cool bonuses, which, because of my relationship with Stu, meant that I got Stu to do a live training just for my audience. So those things are really valuable, right? Yeah. So I do a 2% launch 3 times a year. And I do skinny launches probably another 4 times a year. And then I do the big full fat launch with Stu once a year.
And are you doing some of them where you're relaunching courses as well?
Yeah, our flagship program, Courses Made Simple That Sell, we launch that every year as we do the book course. And then we are now starting to partner up to do a December launch as well with partners. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that is planning on being my 7-figure launch. Yeah.
Which one is that? What was the title?
Oh, so this one is a new program, and it relates a lot to what I was saying about I've got, as we would say in the UK, a bee in my bonnet about people. I'm a big believer, especially with everything that's been going on. I want to level the playing field. I want to build a bigger table for everyone, not just a select few. And I think in order to do that, we have to get back to reality. We need to learn, because I believe everybody can do this, to build a 6-figure business. And then we can scale from there. So we've created a program called 6-Figure Freedom, Your Path to Financial Empowerment, because ultimately, once you are financially empowered, you get to make better choices. And interestingly, what I see with most people that we work with is that they haven't really figured out what's the right business model for them. So should I do courses, or should I do memberships, or should I do group coaching programs? Or maybe I want to do all of them all at once. And I want to take it right back to say, okay, let's create a roadmap that's going to get all of you to 6 figures in a way that's right for you. So not a cookie cutter, not everyone has to do everything, but saying, right, if you want to do courses, this is what it looks like. And we go through a whole series of trainings on how they can figure out, what is the best path for them based on what they really enjoy doing, who their audience is, right? And also, as you well know, like over time, you add stuff in, but you've got to have a foundation. What is your foundational piece going to be? For me, my foundational piece was online courses. And then on top of that, I put membership. And then on top of that, I put a mastermind. Other people might do it the other way around, right? But it's finding out what is the right path for you. And that for me is really important, that we take away all the fluff and the Photoshop, and we get down to the real, how are we going to do this, right? What is the right business model for you, Sharon? What's the right business model for you, Sarah? And what's the right business model for me? Okay, so that at the end of the program, everyone has a very clear roadmap for themselves on what they need to do to get to those 6 figures. And I do genuinely believe that with passion, determination, and execution, every single person can get to 6 figures without a doubt. Because the difference between getting to 6 and 7, aside from the things I've already mentioned, is you need to scale, right? You can get to 6 figures by just coaching. But to get to 7, you need to have digital programs and courses, and you need to have a team. But as you're in the process of scaling, one of the things that I'm going to teach you is, let's focus on the profit. How much are you taking home? Because before you go and start scaling like I did, like learn from my mistakes, I grew the business. multi-seven figures, and yet I was taking less money home into my own pocket. What nonsense. Like, that is craziness. So let's learn how do we grow our businesses incrementally so that as we are growing the top line revenue, we're also keeping an eye on our overhead, and actually we're growing the top line in our own bank account too.
Yeah. And keeping an eye on the cash flow, and, you know, every team member, when you add a team member, they have to actually be creating more value than taking away, unless your goal is to also free up more of your time.
Yeah, that's definitely true, because that's a trade-off, right? And so that has to be one of the questions that you ask yourself. Now, for me, one of the reasons I love online courses so much is because you create, it's passive, it's what I call semi-passive income, right? I'm not a massive believer in the whole passive income terminology, because I think it can be completely misconstrued. And this is the very practical Brit in me. So for me, passive income means you have to actively invest time and money to create an asset. And then that asset, whether it's just like a property, right? Just like if you have an apartment that you rent out, that is relatively passive income. But hey guys, you know that when the washing machine stops working and something else happens, it's not that passive. You have to get involved. It's just nowhere near as, you know, active as having a job, let's say. So it's semi-passive income, but you have to create that asset. And an online course is an asset, right? So you invest time and effort and money, and you create an asset in an online course. And once you've done that, you can repeat it and you keep making money. But that effort that you put in can, you know, once and done. I mean, you will update it, of course, but you don't need to update it every 6 months. Don't need to update it every year. I'd probably say update it every 2 years. And yes, you need to put some more input in if you're teaching live. But if you're going to have, you know, a $500 or less program, it's entirely possible to make that all self-study so that you are completely hands-off. So from a business model perspective, with my financial hat on, the profit margin on courses is so much greater than pretty much anything else in your business is going to be.
Yeah. It's interesting that you talked about you have the low end, right? The entry level stuff like that you did with Groupon. Then you've got that mid-size, like the $497, which you said could be self-study. And obviously the $2,000 type ones, pound ones, are much more involvement on your end. So how do you make that decision of just how much to get involved? Because a lot of times now, the real differentiating factor between a successful course is how much you get involved yourself, how much support you're giving.
Yeah, so I think it depends on who you are, right? And how big your audience is. So at the beginning, when you haven't got an audience yet, maybe you are like, you know, the 1 in a million who's got such epic branding that you can put some Facebook ads out there. And maybe you've got, I don't know, some just incredible backstory and some incredible experience before you started to do this, which means that when somebody who doesn't know you, coming from a cold audience, lands on your sales page, they're like, wow, okay, I don't need to know anything else. I'm just buying this now. Mm-hmm. Truthfully, the rest of us need to do a bit more work than that, right? We need to grow our audiences because we need to build the trust with people. Yeah. And the way you build your trust isn't by making your courses completely self-study. However, at less than $100 price point, people do not expect you to be involved. So I think that there is a mix, and you bring people through at $47 or $97, and then you nurture them into what the next stage with you is. So how do I make this decision? For me, it is, I love a launch. I love teaching live. I love events. It's my happy place. Some people hate it. So some people would much rather really perfect their SEO, their Facebook ads, their conversion metrics, and have a funnel in place that was just selling more and more 47, 97, 297, and 497 programs because they don't want to teach live, they don't enjoy it, or they don't have the time, or they just don't want to create the time to, whatever their reasons are. So that's fine. That's the path for them. But it takes a different skill set. You've got to get really good at Facebook ads and really good at conversions. And maybe you throw in an evergreen webinar, which is where you sell the course from. For me, I love a launch. I love a live. I'm happy teaching live. So I tend to really think to myself, I'll do probably 1 or 2 big live teachers a year, definitely no more than 2. And the rest I'll be self-study, evergreen, under $500.
And you still believe in Facebook ads? Is that your...
I do. Yeah, I do. Right now, they've been working fantastically well for me. That doesn't mean that, it's a dark art, right? I can't. Sometimes we throw money at it and we get absolutely sweet FA back. And other times we put money in and we're very skeptical. And then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, that was a nice 20 times our investment. Fantastic. We fall back in love with Facebook again. All that said, I think is part of a mix, right? I think it's part of a mix. I don't think you can ever discount it, but I think that nothing beats growing your own email list and your own audience.
Oh yeah, I love email. I want to make sure that we get a couple questions in because I know our time is already running out. So Sandy asked what sort of courses you're talking about. So I assume you're talking about when we talk about the evergreen ones, the self-study.
Yeah. With self-study, all of my courses are based on videos and they're all based on videos and slides. So I use a Mac, so I record over Keynote and I upload that we use both Thinkific and Kajabi, depends on what we're using it for. So yeah.
Oh, okay. And have you ever tried using YouTube ads?
No, I haven't. And I really want to. So in September, we're going to try them for one of our evergreen courses because I have a feeling they would be good. Yeah, it's definitely something that I want to do.
And then we're going to have you back on to share it.
Yeah, it's always good to share somebody who has never done it and unpack their journey and see what happened, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For brand new, because people come on and they spew all the different things that they're already experts and you have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, and that's not very helpful for people.
No, not at all. I think we answered this. You've got Thinkific and Kajabi.
Yeah. So the reason I don't host them on my own website is because I think that there are such brilliant learning management platforms out there who do nothing but focus on making their platform better every day. And there's nothing that I could do that would do that. And also just the ease of use of both Thinkific and Kajabi. They're both super, super simple. And I mean, I'm a big WordPress fan in terms of my website and we run my membership, the 6-Figure Club, through, we run the membership through our website, but we don't run our courses through there.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with that. I would not add another thing onto my WordPress site. There's enough going on and too many problems that can happen. I use Teachable myself, which is like Thinkific.
Which I think has just been bought by Hotmart.
Yeah, it's just been bought, so they're investing more money in doing things. Camille said 1 course equals asset, 2 courses equals passive income.
Well, I would say 1 course equals passive income, but it equals semi-passive income, right? Because you have to create the course in the first step. But I would say 1 course is passive income and 2 courses is multiple passive income, right? So I think that you want to think of it really like you should have, personally, I think you need at least 3, maybe 4 courses. I don't think you have to have like 20, but I think you also need to not just look at the number of courses you have, but look at how do they work with each other? Like, are they completely different? And also, how do they work in your funnel? Is one of the courses at a much lower price point to help people come through the funnel? Is one of them completely hands-off and self-study? Is one of them higher premium course and hands-on? Like, really think about how does that work for you and your business model?
Yeah, makes sense. Wow, they're coming in fast and furious. Let's see what we have here. What do you recommend to start off when you have nobody on your email list? All
right. Hey, Sophie, what I would recommend, Sophie, tell me what you do, but this is what I would recommend. start one. You know, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is right now. So you need to start building an email list, and there are tons of things you can do. I am sure you've got some kind of social media presence. You could think about a challenge to do. You create a landing page, and people have to sign up to do the challenge through the landing page. You take the email addresses from there, and you start to create and build your email list. You could create a checklist, a download, a video series. There's so many cool things that you could do. I call them ethical bribes. Other people call them lead magnets, right? I call it an ethical bribe because I think it's ethical, but really I'm bribing you, right? I'm saying, hey, Sophie, if I give you this really cool thing that I know you want, can I have your email address in return? So an unethical bribe is when, you know, you create a pile of shite and just try to get people's email addresses for no value whatsoever. And I see that happening all day long. So don't do that. Not that you would. Go and create something really cool, and you're better off creating one asset that's amazing than trying to do 25 different things. And just build your email list up slowly. And remember that even though your email list might be small, it can be mighty, because the smaller the list, the higher the conversions, because the more these people will open your emails, and therefore the more conversions you're going to get. So don't think that you have to have an email list of like 10,000 people before you start making money. You don't. You can start with about 100. 100 is a good place to start. And you could get 100, Sophie, in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And Sophie said, loves it. I know we're out of time. I want to be aware of your time. Can we do one more question?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So Sammy said, do you include learning activities, homework, in your evergreen courses? And do you drip the content, which is really two different things?
Great question, Sammy. So yes, I do include learning activities, even on my $29 Groupon product. So I tell you why, because I want people to go, oh my gosh, if that's what I get from buying her course through Groupon, what would happen if I actually invested in her premium products? So for me, people question me. They say, oh my God, Shaa, I can't believe that you're going to sell your courses on Groupon. Is that not going to devalue your brand? I'm like, hello, I'm getting about $20,000 a month in passive revenue because I don't have to do anything. And that also means that I'm getting about 20,000 new people on my email list every month. Oh, and Groupon is roughly like I think it's like a $650 million company. So I reckon my brand's okay, but thanks for checking in on me. And for me, it was like the opposite. I was like, no, because if you create a great brand experience at a low price, all you're going to do is make people want your higher price stuff, because they're going to think, wow, she cares enough at this price point. How is she going to love on me at a, more expensive price point? That's how I thought about it. And in my evergreen, I don't drip the content. In my evergreen, I deliver everything in one go.
Yep. A lot of people want something right away. They want everything. They don't want to wait. Oh, here's an interesting question as well. So Cynthia said, English is not my first language. I'm still getting confident to record videos to my courses because of my accent. My question is, what can I do to increase the chance of a written self-study course, no video, to get more acceptance? How can I make it engaging in this format?
All right, Cynthia. So Cynthia, I think you're going to both love me and hate me for my answer, right? Are you ready? So the first thing is, I don't think you should do that. I think that you should create some great slides. You don't have to be video to camera like this, right? I think it's an added bonus, but if you really hate doing that, just create some really lovely branded slides and you can talk over the slides. But here's the thing, Cynthia, what I think is the most important thing is that you embrace you, because there are plenty of people around this world who have accents and who don't look or sound like us. And one of the things that is my biggest passion, has been a real driver for me since COVID and George Floyd, everything that's been happening in the last few months, is to really start to create equity, not just equality, because equality and equity are not quite the same things. And actually, having an accent plays a part of that as well. So if anyone is feeling that the way they look, the way they sound, where they come from, their gender, their sexuality, whatever it is going to hold them back, I think you need to really say, I'm not going to swear, but you're going to have to say to yourself, F that, I'm going to do it anyway. Because if we are going to change the landscape, we have to be part of changing the landscape, right? So we need to make sure that we all show up in all our wonderful different ways that we look and all our wonderful different ways that we sound. And actually, truthfully, Cynthia, I think it's pretty boring when everybody looks and sounds the same. So I truly believe that I've got things to learn from everyone. And I don't think you should even begin to let your accent play a part in this. The only thing I would say is if people actually can't understand you. Now, that's a different thing altogether, which might mean that you have to start focusing on creating courses in your native tongue for your native audience. And don't go automatically saying, oh, no, but my country is too small. Here's the thing. The UK is a tiny, tiny, tiny country. Tiny. I'm pretty sure that wherever you come from, your country is bigger than mine. And I still managed to do 7 figures from my backyard. You can do it too.
And none of us have accents at all. No, absolutely not. And just one thing, Pinky said, agreed, we all need to encompass this in our business. So I love that.
It's hugely, hugely important to me. It has been for many, many years. And at I think the last 4 months have taught me one thing, Sharon. I think I'm a creative activist who happens to be very good at business. Like I've won awards for business. I have an award from the Queen for business, but really what my driving passion is to create social mobility for everybody. That is what lights me up. And another reason why I love online courses, because actually to be able to create social mobility, an online course is one of the easiest, most cost-effective ways of being able to do it.
Yep. And so long as you have an internet connection, which is not always the case, and a computer, then you can do it. So,
and if you don't, and you're a real hard hustler, you go to a local library, you use their computer and you use their internet and you do it anyway. Like literally, if you want it, there is no excuse.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I should wrap up. This has been really, really terrific. I love it. Do you have any last words? Or Sarah, dare I ask you if you have any last questions?
I would recommend you pop over to your local Groupon, type in Shaa, Shaa, Wasmund, Wasmund, and have a look and see Shaa's courses there. And then choose one that you like. Now, I did say this would be pitch free and it would be pure content, but do this as research. Have a look at Shaa's course, see which one you think you can get the most value from. Go and do it. Look at the experience of going through Groupon and redeeming. Look at how to become a Groupon partner. Look at the value in the program, and then reverse engineer it. And see how you can do this in your business.
And I have a really weird name, so I'm super easy to find on social media. So feel free to come and follow me. Go to my website, super simple, shaa.com. You'll find all the details around, where I am on Facebook and Instagram and everything else.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was really, really inspirational. And we've got tons of comments with everyone saying good point. And I agree. And thank you so much from Kim and Fran. Great message. So this has all been, Pinky said we all need to encompass this. So this has been
very, very welcome. Really, really welcome. And I think that this is it's just a really important message. I think that right now we are living in so much uncertainty. We don't know what's happening around the corner. And I think that one of the things that I know for sure is that we're always stronger together. So I think that by reaching out and asking for help, by giving other people your help, we are going to get through this.
All right. Thank you so much. All inspiring. And head over and learn more about Shaa, because this was great. I really appreciate you coming on, Shaa.
Pleasure.
Right. I'll let you go. Take care now. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Shaa. Now it's just done.